This week's big news. How do you feel about me tightening up the no jumper business? It has been much misreported. A lot of people are really trying to act as if like no jumper's done, or I'm not working with any of these guys anymore at all.
At the end of the day, my whole disposition was to create something that was an attachment to no jumper. And it took me some time to do it because this is such it's a big platform when it comes to the West Coast. A lot of people don't want to give us the respect, but it is, right? A lot of it I didn't understand, and which I end up asking you, right? I don't live stream. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't even know how that works, really.
Clubhouse is basically live streaming.
So, yeah, right? Okay, so if you tell me that, right, it's different ways that revenue is made on Clubhouse outside of Clubhouse. It's nothing to do with Clubhouse. Uh-huh. So when I'm looking at these live streams, there's usually like 4 people in there, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm telling myself, either the live stream, whatever it generates, is generating enough to cover the 4 people, right? And, you know, and it's contributing to the overall, which a lot of people don't see, security, editors, the cameraman, shit like that, right? I said, well, then it might make sense. Or Adam's doing it or started doing it when everybody kind of left the building.
I think it kind of feels like I broke out of like a spell that I was under that I had slowly developed in my brain, which was that this feeling that in order for No Jumper to be legit, we needed to produce a ton of content.
That's what I was getting to.
And when I really look at the economics of producing a ton of content and having, you know, a decent percentage of it realistically not performing well, it's just like, that's really not what I should be putting my attention
Not
towards.
at all. So
we should make good content, and then we should work on the businesses that are adjacent to that content.
Because, see, you got to remember, either that was generating enough, or I felt like Adam was bringing something to the building to give it another boost, to generate some content, to keep people active with it. And I was like, okay, but that only needs to go on for so long. Like, even like when the transition happened, right? So I'm like, okay, well, all right, I see Adam bringing that in, got people talking, No Jumper has this new thing, whatever, till you situate whatever your shows are gonna be that goes up on the No Jumper channel, right? Which ultimately generates the revenue, right? When it comes to No Jumper, right? I'm like, okay, I get that. But at some point, that's gonna start digging into that. So you gotta cut back on it, business-wise. Now, what I didn't understand was Sharp.
Okay, what about Sharp?
A lot of people, before I even knew Sharp, I would hear about Sharp's show. A lot of women, right?
And what would you hear?
No, he was like a
the Shark Tank.
No, he was like
Shark Tank.
He was like a controversial dude. He was like the hood Kevin Samuels dude, right?
A little bit.
Sometimes he'll flip out on the women. Sometimes he'll be on their side. Then he give his little his pimp analogy and shit like that, right?
A little bit.
But I started seeing Sharp doing more of that, of the live stream, whatever those shows were. The news, than his show.
Okay. I mean, I think he's doing both, but why are these sandbags right here?
I started seeing more of that, but then again, I said, okay, maybe Sharp's doing it for the exposure over there and dragging over there. So when I heard you do it, first thing I thought was business. Right? It starts what time in the morning? What is that time the news start?
I think it was supposed to be 10, and everybody would always be fucking late, and it would start at like 10:30 or 11.
So what time would your first this kind of show start?
So then I would be coming in to do interviews, and usually I would be starting around 12.
12, okay. So that's an extra 2 hours a day of security, right? And let's go 5-day week. That's 10 hours. That's another 40 hours of security.
Once I actually saw the real true cost that essentially we were imposing upon ourselves through doing the news, I just started to have like a different thought pattern in terms of
40
what
hours of security
would make sense.
You got extra 40 hours of security, extra 40 hours of editors.
People who are putting together the titles, the topics.
All
people
this
are putting
is
together the clips right as soon as it happens.
So we got like at least 8 people, right?
Well, I don't know about that. Well, I mean, the people who are actually on the show.
Security, editors,
The guy who's running the computer while you're doing it.
What about lights? Is a light guy? No.
No, it's just lights.
Okay. Then we got 4 dudes. Is it 2 shows or 1 show?
The news would be 1 show per day, Monday through Friday, and then we were doing nightly live podcasts on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We're still doing Tuesday. So
it's safe to say we average another 8 dudes at another 10 hours a week at 40 hours, right? That's 320 hours of pay.
Meanwhile, like a relatively small percentage of the fans were actually watching that content, but a huge percentage of the fans seemed like they were deeply invested in the drama that would come from different things that were happening with the news. It was almost like, because it was so messy and sloppy and kind of all over the place, that made it a perfect content for other people to make content about. Meanwhile, the actual content didn't really feel like it hit its stride. I mean, let's be real. We haven't done like 100,000 views on the news in probably like a year. Your biggest live stream probably came from me and Flacco. Well, that was on DW's show. And that clip, a live stream. But let's put that in perspective. That clip, I think, has maybe like 500,000 views right now, which is like, pretty freaking good, like a lot more than most clips. But because of the fact that we had to get it out instantly as soon as it happened, and there's tons of swearing, and there's Wack's butt crack and all this kind of stuff, you can see his second cell phone, it made probably like $50 on YouTube. So it's like, from the perspective of just getting attention, making a clip that goes viral like that earns you $50, like, I guess that's okay. For someone who actually wants to like run a business, is that really worth it